All right, let's get right into it. Welcome to this explainer where we are going to dive headfirst into the often misunderstood, and let's be honest, sometimes completely ignored, world of disability insurance. We are here to show you exactly how to protect your absolute most valuable asset. My goal for us today is to just cut right through all the confusing industry jargon, look way past the glossy marketing brochures, and give you the clear, consumer-friendly facts you actually need to make smart decisions about your financial future.
So to kick things off, I want you to ask yourself a quick question and be really honest with your very first instinct here. What do you consider to be your biggest financial asset? Take a second and think about it.
Well, if you're like most people, you probably just guessed your house. Or, maybe your 401k or some other retirement account. But actually, scratch that. The reality is that your ability to earn an income, your paycheck, is the actual engine that powers literally everything else. Think about it. If that engine suddenly stops, the mortgage doesn't get paid, the retirement account stops growing, and the entire financial life you've worked so hard to build just comes to a grinding halt. Here is our roadmap for today. We're breaking this down into 6 quick pieces. Your most valuable asset, a look inside Ameritas DInamic Cornerstone, decoding disability insurance jargon, valuable built-in benefits, why the fine print matters, and finally, the independent broker advantage.
Okay, part 1. Your most valuable asset, and why relying solely on group plans usually falls short.
Here's the stark math you really need to know. A lot of folks think, hey, I've got long-term disability through work, it covers 60% of my salary, I am totally good. But here is what the experts at diversified insurance brokers are always pointing out. If your employer pays your group disability premium, those benefits are generally taxable. Meaning, a plan you thought covered a super comfortable 60% of your income might actually leave you with a massive, unexpected shortfall. You'll likely be bringing home closer to 40% of what you actually need to live on. And that hidden gap, that is exactly why supplemental individual insurance is absolutely crucial. Moving right along to part 2, inside Ameritas DInamic Cornerstone, which we're going to use as a real-world case study in protection.
This specific contract occupies a very, very useful position in the market. It's built specifically for professionals and higher earners who want genuine, rock-solid protection, but who might find the absolute highest-tier premiums from other carriers just a bit out of range. It's essentially this perfect consumer-friendly sweet spot. It doesn't claim to be the most expensive, ultra-feature-heavy policy in the world, but it offers incredibly credible protection, making really high-quality coverage reachable to a whole lot of people.
All right, part 3, decoding disability insurance jargon. Let's translate some of this complex stuff.
The absolute most crucial point here is the term own occupation. This right here is the gold standard definition of total disability. For specialists, dentists, attorneys, or really anyone whose earning power is tied to a very narrow hard-earned credential, paying for a true own occupation definition is essential. Basically, it means that if an injury prevents you from doing your specific profession, you get full benefits, even if you decide to go teach or work in a completely different, lower-paying field. And the cool thing is, Ameritas DInamic Cornerstone includes this true own occupation language right in its base definition for qualifying occupations. Now, this brilliantly illustrates a decision almost nobody explains to you: non-cancelable versus guaranteed renewable. A guaranteed renewable policy looks so much cheaper today. And sure, they can't cancel it, but, and this is a big but, they can raise your premiums on a class basis. A non-cancelable policy, on the other hand, legally locks in your premium prices. They absolutely cannot be raised by the carrier. So, choosing guaranteed renewable just to save a few bucks today, it might mean getting hit with a massive rate increase right when you hit your late 50s, which, not so conveniently, is exactly when replacing coverage is the hardest. Part 4, valuable built-in benefits and where this specific policy really punches above its weight class. Instead of nickel and diming you and charging extra for every single little feature, Ameritas builds these 3 highly practical benefits straight into the base policy at zero extra cost. First, the good health benefit is quietly amazing. It actually reduces your waiting period for benefits by 2 days for every consecutive year you go without a claim. Then there's the benefit advancement, which gives you a quick $500 for non-disabling medical or dental injuries. And that COBRA premium benefit, that is a literal lifesaver. Losing your income and your health coverage at the exact same time is a compounding disaster. So reimbursing up to $1,000 a month for 18 months to keep your health insurance active, that's just an incredible feature to have baked right in. Now, something people don't realize is that most disabilities are actually partial rather than total. You might just have to reduce your hours, or maybe take on a lower volume of procedures. To protect against that, you have to select a residual disability tier. The basic tier is great if you're a salaried employee, But if your income tracks volume, procedures, or billable output, you definitely need to look at the Enhanced or Enhanced Plus tiers to protect yourself properly. It's for sure not a one-size-fits-all situation.
Okay, part 5. The fine print matters. Let's talk about what the glossy brochure leaves out. This is exactly where having an expert guide is non-negotiable. Because pulling a lever to lower your premium in one area can unexpectedly gut your coverage in another. For instance, the student loan repayment benefit on this contract, it only extends to partial disability if you carry a residual rider on the policy. So if you decline that residual rider just to save a couple of bucks, you've just broken your student loan rider. On top of that, things like mental health claims are often capped at 24 months, and elimination periods are tightly linked to benefit periods. You just can't always mix and match to build some cheap policy that will actually work when you need it most.
And look, it's really important to be completely objective here. Ameritas is a fantastic, highly rated carrier with an A best rating of A, excellent. They are super well positioned to meet their financial obligations. But if absolute maximum financial strength is your one and only priority, there are other carriers in the market that rate slightly higher. That's not a knock on Ameritas at all. It's just an honest, clear assessment of exactly where they sit in the overall marketplace. And finally, part 6, the independent broker advantage and your guide to the market. Everything we just talked about is exactly why working with an agency like Diversified Insurance Brokers is so incredibly important. They operate as an independent fiduciary agency that actively shops across more than 100 highly rated carriers on your behalf. Think about that. They don't work for Ameritas, and they don't work for any single insurance company. They work for you. If a different carrier serves your specific occupation or your health history better, they are going to tell you. Their whole education-first approach is summed up perfectly by their chief underwriter, Jason Stahls. They do the heavy lifting of verifying the fine print, comparing quotes across those 100-plus carriers, and ensuring you get authentic protection. They translate the insurance jargon into plain English so you know exactly what you're buying, and they do it all with absolutely zero pressure. So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. If your paycheck engine stopped tomorrow, is your financial life truly protected? Or are you banking on a group plan that's going to leave you with a massive tax shortfall? I really hope this explainer sheds some light on the critical importance of protecting your income. Please, don't wait until the engine breaks down to check the warranty. Reach out to an independent expert like Diversified Insurance Brokers to ensure your financial engine is fully protected for the long haul. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep learning.